什么叫民主啊？
啊？
什么叫民主？
不知道，什么意思啊？
Greetings, comrades. Asian Film Fanatic here. You know, with all the crazy things going on this year, I think it's appropriate to talk about the big two, Wuhan and the elections. That's right, I'm talking about the historical events of 2007, the primary school elections in Wuhan Elementary. This is Please Vote for Me. Democracy for a third grade class in Wuhan, China. I don't know how this came about or how much of it is staged or real. The movie claims this to be the first election to take place at a school in China. Ever! Sounds like a marketing line to me. Everyone seems genuine, but it's always hard to know to what extent the filmmakers were involved or if any ideas were suggested. The director is Weijun Chen. This is the second documentary he's directed and has helmed several more since. The film editing is by Tsien, a veteran documentary editor. There's no musical soundtrack to this movie, and it does remarkably well, all things considering. I think it's refreshing as it removes a layer of manipulation. This documentary barely covers the different types of government elections, so here's a brief summary. Democracy is a style of government which gives ordinary citizens the power to choose their leaders through free elections. In contrast, the Communist Party of China mainly uses democratic centralism, a government-controlled electoral process exclusive to party elites. The highest level positions are selected via a closed vote, where branches of the government decide who gets chosen. Only certain lower-level positions are open to the people's vote. The easiest way to frame it is democracy empowers ordinary citizens, while communism empowers the government. At Wuhan Evergreen Primary School, class monitors are usually chosen by their teachers. The role of the class monitor is to make sure everyone behaves. This year, Mrs. Cheng announces they selected 3 potential candidates. How they chose this initially is anyone's guess. Beyond this, the election in Please Vote for Me appears to be truly democratic. Whoever gets the most votes gets to be the new class monitor. We focus on 3 students: Chen, Lei, and Xiaofei. Lei is the incumbent candidate vying for re-election. He was less compelling as a candidate, but had a few tricks up his sleeve, thanks to his parents. Cheng was the most fun to watch due to his spoiled nature and scheming persona. He made me think of a little Chinese Eric Cartman. Why is it always the fat kids that are so fun to watch? The least interesting was Xiaofei. She's too nice and a little insecure. But she was the most likable in the purest sense. The candidates' campaigning consisted of 3 parts: an introduction talent show, a debate, and finally, closing remarks. We get to see the students studying, competing with each other, parents coaching their kids, and doing what it takes to get elected. At some points, I was surprised the adults talked so encouragingly about democracy without any references to the CPC. They just focused on helping their child get elected. It's a bit relevant to note the parents' occupations. Lei's mom and dad both work for the police. Xiaofei's mom is divorced and a school administrator. Cheng's stepdad is an engineer and his mom is a director at a TV station. For those of you interested in parenting, they're deeply invested, discussing ideas, providing pressure, direction, and support. Please Vote for Me is a little short at a runtime of about 58 minutes. The viewer's interest relies on watching everyone's strategies play out and the suspense of who's going to win. They definitely could have added more, but I didn't feel like it was missing anything. I found the interactions between the classmates and parents engaging throughout, not only as a light political drama, but as a personal drama. I also enjoyed watching the kids' unfiltered energy. If you take delight in a child's devious naivety mixed in with the politics of democracy, I'd wholeheartedly recommend it. Now I'm going to go a bit more in depth with spoilers, favorite scenes, and movie reactions. The beginning starts with asking some girls what democracy is. They never even heard of the word. The concept of democracy is introduced and the candidates are announced. After school, we follow Cheng home. I thought it was hilarious seeing Cheng stripped down to his underwear. It shows how comfortable he is in front of the camera. Yeah, that's the only way to relax. Cheng wants to be a class monitor so he can order people around. At times the motivations fluctuate throughout the film. The parents are always pressuring the kids to perform. He doesn't even know what democracy is. What is democracy? People are their own masters. After asserting he needs no help, Lole's parents tell him he needs some tricks and technique. Lole then responds, he doesn't want to control how others vote. They should think for themselves. Well, that's naive. Xiaofei's mom tells her she needs to work on her communication skills, but she's hesitant. I like how she responds though. Well, she's not a natural, and it seems like her mom's pushing her more into it. I also liked the bit where Cheng's mother tells him to release the qi from his belly. It's so Chinese. In terms of class and status, I noticed differences in their living spaces and lifestyle. Lole's family seems to be most well off, followed by Cheng. Xiaofei seems to be only supported by her mom and lives in a smaller apartment. I don't know if there's a significant income inequality, but certainly a campaign with deeper pockets can be more resourceful, as we'll see by the end. Before the talent show starts, Cheng schemes to heckle Xiaofei. What a jerk! And you know how kids can easily be stirred to become a cruel mob. Xiaofei is such a sweet girl, she cries. Luckily, her mom's there to comfort her. Cheng apologizes and tells Lole to do the same. His fake apology and tears make the whole class cry. So that plan may have backfired. Her mom laments being single and not having the same resources as Lole's parents. As an active class monitor, Lole still commands with an iron fist. Cheng's talent went well. They even listened to him when he told everyone to be quiet. On the second day of the talent show, Cheng again schemes to heckle Lole. He even tells the teacher, who just smiles. But Lole doesn't buckle. During lunch, he justifies hitting his students, saying they wouldn't listen if he wasn't strict. Cheng taunts he'll vote for him, seemingly out of pity. Back at home, his dad suggests taking the whole class on a monorail ride, a rare transport system at the time. He does, and it gets well received by everyone, except Cheng, who fights with his own assistant. When Cheng confides with Mrs. Zhang his desire to quit, she encourages him to keep going. Likewise, his mom tells him not to quit. Why can't you be as clever as Lole? Such an Asian mom response. Xiaofei's mom continues coaching her about weaknesses, being civilized and responsible. I like how she reacts. She goes around asking classmates and makes a list of Lole's faults. That's what politics sounds like, alright? For Xu Xiaofei and Cheng's debate, Xiaofei doesn't stand a chance. Cheng is a sharp debater. These are Chinese criticisms. It's bad to be wrong even once! Are you proud of yourself? Another hilarious scene in this movie is Cheng yelling at his stepdad to come over and wipe his ass. This kid's 8 years old. It just goes to show how spoiled he's gotten from China's one-child policy. Cheng's mom tells him to say he's a manager, not a dictator, as well as touting care and equality. That doesn't sound very communist. When Lolei tells his dad Cheng said he's gonna vote for him, he cleverly tells his son a win-win response. If Cheng confirms this, say he doesn't believe in himself. And if he says otherwise, call him a liar. On the day of the debate, they do some co-urinal trash talking. Now that's how coronavirus gets spread. You go in, you take a piss, you arm wrestle, and you don't wash your hands! During the debate, Lolei's plan goes just as his dad described. They even cut in footage of his dad's thumbs up. Yeah! Cheng continues branding Lolei as an abusive dictator. The pressure mounts. Xiaofei and Cheng's final speech sounds like it's been co-written with their parents. Hey! Lolei's dad has one last trick to suggest. After his speech, give the class these Mid-Autumn Festival cards as a gift, to sweeten the deal. I wonder if that's how they do it at the police office. Corruption, anyone? Coronavirus, patient 0, right there. In their final speech, Cheng makes a democratic appeal. Xiaofei cites personal improvements. Lolei leans on prior experience and relationships. He gives them the cards which are well received. Counting the votes, Lolei wins by a landslide. It's both funny and sad watching them cry. They're so hurt by their loss. But that's how it goes. It's not about the results. It's about the experience, right? Cheng and Xiaofei are like, this experience sucks. By the end of it, it seems like nothing has changed. The end. So what have we learned? The question remains, what is democracy? All votes are equal, but does this really level the playing field? Lolei was strict, but his biggest advantage was treating his class to gifts and a monorail ride. Democracy is not inherently skewed towards the wealthy, but wealth can certainly add an advantage. Does the power of speech truly overcome the power of wealth? Cheng's advantage was his scheming and speech, but he still lost. Every circumstance is different, and in this case, I think the kids were most likely compelled to reciprocate for Lolei's gifts. Sometimes it's just easier to re-elect the incumbent. Cheng and Xiaofei's parents focused on improving their skills set, but elections aren't won on skill alone. A big part of this competition is tearing rivals down. In communism, the government controls the people's voice through strict restrictions, regulations, and enforcements. In democracy, people try to control people, not by censorship or tyranny, but by the power of persuasion and popularity. It's not perfect, there can be plenty of manipulation involved. But democracy gives more power to the people. Who knows best? If the problem with communism is the suppression of choice, the problem with democracy is the decision of choice. Lack of knowledge, not knowing the facts, susceptibility to emotions are also common downfalls of majority rule. Voters are all too subject to promises, persuasion, influence, charisma, not just from the candidates, but social pressure from their peers as well. Less rational crowds can succumb to hysteria, misinformation, and foolish trendings. While I like to believe that democracy thrives off the basis of sound principle alone, it's usually not the smartest person in the room who gets elected, but the most persuasive. There's a lot of psychology involved in this. Candidates can win off the appeal of emotions, intellect, or even appearance. In the end, like any system of government, democracy can only be as good as those who participate in it. Please like and subscribe. With your vote, we can make YouTube great again. I promise you, this time, things will be different.
God bless the USA.
I'm the Asian film fanatic, and I approve this message.